good and well that we did not lose jobs because of no immigrants. We didn't have them before they got here. And when they got here, they did not take out, there was not a mass firing of blacks and hiring immigrants.
Exactly.
So we need to quit telling that lie. Hold on 1 minute, I'm coming back to you. Keeping it real. Jennifer Jones Austin, Shopton, coming back to Gene. Be right back. Keeping it real.
Oh, okay.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real.
Breaking news. The issues, the stories affecting you. Now, here's the news from News1.com.
I'm Ebony McMorris. Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel is ripping President Trump over the latest move by the U.S. Justice Department to crack down on sanctuary cities. Emanuel blasted the White House yesterday while speaking in Washington, D.C.
The idea that the President of the United States and the Justice Department would arrest any one of us for believing in our ideals and carrying out the law of our city is wrong. Fundamentally wrong.
His comments came after the DOJ sent out letters to Chicago and nearly 24 other jurisdictions threatening them with the loss of grant money if they can't prove they are cooperating with immigration authorities. Chicago has sued the federal government over the issue. Meanwhile, the president says he is willing to talk to the special counsel in the Russia investigation under oath.
In an impromptu Q&A session with White House reporters last night, the president said he's ready to speak to special counsel Robert Mueller under oath.
I'm looking forward to it, actually.
The president said depending on what his lawyers say, that interview could take place in 2
guys.
or 3 weeks.
Thanks for
He says
tuning
he's
in.
eager to testify and say there was no
Call
collusion
in
and no obstruction of justice.
Fight back. Oh, it's obstruction. So here's the thing. I hope so.
Trump's lawyers say terms of any possible questioning in the investigation are still being worked out. Sharon Reed, NBC News Radio.
The NAACP is suing the Trump administration over its decision to end protections for Haitian immigrants. The NAACP insists the move to remove temporary protected status for Haitians discriminates against immigrants of color. Haitian immigrants were given special status following the devastating 2010 earthquake that struck the country. The Department of Homeland Security says the extraordinary conditions caused by the earthquake no longer exist. Earlier this month, President Trump was quoted as using a vulgar term to describe Haiti and some African countries. For all the news 24/7, go to News1.com. I'm Ebony McMorris.
What's up with the other one?
Oh, I ain't started
All
yet.
states are where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Hey, man, where'd you get all the extra cash? Yo, keep it down. I went online to 57cash.com yesterday, and bam! Whoa, sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. $4 grand was in my account today. Wait a minute, 57cash.com helped you get $4K just like that? You know it! 57cash.com's lenders provide fast, cash personal loans for up to $5,000 for people like me with any type of credit. Man, I'm always short on cash. Do you think 57cash.com will give me the cash I need fast?
If you need extra cash fast, go to 57cash.com. Just have a checking account and a regular source of income. Go to 57cash.com and you can get the loan you need now, regardless of your credit. Go to 57cash.com from your smartphone or computer to get the cash you need. Visit.
How do you feel? Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman! Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs, the main society of CPAs, and the Ad Council.
Later, much later, we heard something. We didn't breathe for listening. Then footsteps on the back porch, creeping, then more confident. After all, nobody was home. A hand closed on the knob on the screen door to the kitchen and found it latched. We heard a little sawing sound as a file began to slice through the screen wire. Grandma reached out for something in her sewing basket. Through the darkness, I managed to notice Grandma's rocker was rocking, but she wasn't in it. She was standing over me, keep just behind me. She whispered. I followed her across the room to the kitchen. Now we were by the door, and I heard the scuffle of heavy feet in there on the crinkly linoleum. Grandma turned back to me. Under my nose, she struck a wooden match with her thumb. She touched the match to something in her other hand.
Les Brown. Then I got former state trooper, Air Force veteran, world-renowned chess champion, #1 Amazon bestselling author, one movie at a time, How to Play and Win in Chess and Life. 2001 founded Be Someone Inc. Started crime prevention program teaching youth the ancient game of chess and today.
This is nice.
I was hoping you'd like it. It's my special recipe.
I'm sorry, sir, but it appears as though your credit card has been declined. Did everyone hear that?
WOLB Baltimore, a Radio 1 station where information is power.
The views and opinions of the guest and host you hear on 1010 WOLB
are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Radio 1, its sponsors, or advertisers.
Good afternoon and welcome to WOLB AM 1010. I'm your host, Tony Roberts, and this is Question of the Day. In the studios, we have Question of the Day engineer, Uchenna Egby, Question of the Day content producer, Guernica Williams, and special guests. Question of the Day.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Question of the Day. Today's show is sponsored by Advanced Window Tinting. For all your tinting and vinyl wrap needs, Advanced Window Tinting has got you covered. With 3 convenient locations around Baltimore, and they'll even come to you. With a customer satisfaction rating of 4.9 stars out of 5. Advanced Window Tinting, fast, reliable, and very affordable. To schedule an appointment, call 410-630-3327. That's 410-630-3327. Or visit their website at www.advancedwindowtinting.com. That's www.advancedwindowtinting.com. With tax season fast approaching, Cephas, Thornton & Associates provide quality tax and accounting services for personal and business clients. For more information and to schedule an appointment, call 410-559-6883. That's 410-559-6883. Cephas, Thornton & Associates, your tax and accounting services. Advanced Window Tinting. Are you looking for a new career? Interested in learning installation on cars, trucks, residential, and commercial projects? Get paid weekly. Advanced Window Tinting is growing and looking for reliable, friendly, self-motivated people and strong work ethics. For immediate openings, contact LB 443-527-5020. That's 443-527-5020. Teach Me How to Braid. 2-day hands-on braiding class, March 10th through the 11th. By licensed cosmetologist Tasha Watson. Learn basic cornrow with and without added hair, no tension methods, design techniques, and much more. Lunch will be served. To register, email dnzhairessentials@gmail.com or call 443-326-7537. Good afternoon, everybody, again. Today's show, we have icons. Known as the Queen of Recovery, this woman is no stranger to life's struggle. A Bachelor's of Arts degree in criminal justice, a minor in forensic science, a master's degree in mental health counseling, and now a certified intervention and recovery life coach, and wants her clients to know, as long as you got life, you got hope. The founder of Limitless Life Recovery Holistic Group, a survivor, an advocate, and ambassador for recovery, and a woman of God. Let's welcome back to the Question of the Day, Miss Deborah King.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Welcome.
Yes. Revered as an icon by his colleagues, voted one of the top 5 outstanding speakers worldwide, addressing audiences from Denmark to Dubai, Canada to the Caribbean. Hundreds of thousands are watching him on YouTube, and tens of thousands interact on a regular on Facebook. Over the past decade, has expanded his role from keynote speaker to master trainer. Real life ups and downs, energy, and if there's a will, there's a way, are some of the ingredients that make up the best in the game. Let's welcome to the Question of the Day, Mr. Les Brown.
Hello, sir. It's always a treat when great people meet. I'm glad to be here with you, Tony.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brown.
Welcome.
Yes. Former state trooper, Air Force veteran, world-renowned chess champion, and #1 Amazon best-selling author of One Move at a Time, How to Play and Win at Chess and Life. 2001 founded Be Someone, Inc., started a crime prevention program, teaching youth the ancient game of chess, and today has reached over 55,000 youth. Let's welcome to the question of the day, Mr. Orrin, Checkmate Hudson. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, we always throw a question out there for the panel, and this is a quote from you, Mr. Brown. You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. And with that being said, the question of the day, how do we mentor others to be great?
I think that what's most important is what you're doing right now, and that is you have a program that's expanding people's awareness to the extent that where we are is a choice and where we want to go is a choice, and that we can give our choices away in life or we can take charge of our lives. The program that you provide, inform people, give them methods and techniques. They have a chance to hear interviews that can give them some new insights. And so the key to, I believe, helping people to transform their lives is providing programming just like you're doing. We have an entertainment-driven culture. People who come to this country, we know this system works because people who come to this country who can't speak the language don't know the system, and they have a 3 to 4 times greater chance of becoming independently wealthy, 3 to 4 times greater chance of buying their own home and owning their own business. Why? Because they have an achievement-driven culture. So the key to mentoring is beginning to have a strategy that will transform the minds of our people individually and collectively and begin to focus on an achievement-driven culture rather than one that's focused on entertainment. The kind of work that Orrin Hudson is doing with young people, teaching them how to think strategically and make moves that will allow them to be free and live as opposed to being infected by HIV, hood-infected virus, AIDS, addiction to incarceration and death syndrome. It all boils down to choices, enlightenment, and the willingness. There's a saying that you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. However, if they're willing to listen and follow the coaching, they can create a thirst where they want to drink. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I agree. Miss King.
Yes, sir. Well, for me, I was so deeply honored that Mr. Brown selected me to be one of his mentees. To have the opportunity to get that tutelage from one of the best that ever did it and who has overcome his own personal struggles and disadvantages allowed me to understand that through my struggle it created my testimony. And you can't have a testimony unless it first begins with a test. So I took that and ran with it because throughout addiction and teaching people how to recapture their life, they have to listen to the tools, like he just stated, and have that desire to want to achieve and make that choice.
I agree. So right now in the United States, we have a lot of different things going on with the youth. Like we just had that shooting in Kentucky where the 2 students were murdered. And in Baltimore, we just had a situation with a scholar athlete who said he was breaking up a fight. The weapon looked like it was a semi-automatic, but they say the gun wasn't real. The young man was locked up, and his family is interested in trying to hold, I guess, the police accountable because they felt like they held the young man too long, even though he was 18 years of age. How do we help these kids to make better choices? Because, like you said, Mr. Brown, we are a society now that's influenced by everything that's like mirage, like that's not real, with reality TV and, like you said, rap and all of these other things.
Well, first of all, the key to transforming our communities when you look at what's going on in the community, it reflects the state of the mind of that community. The only reason that we have the kind of problems that we have today is because we have not made a commitment to do something about it. We've made a commitment to march and say, stop the killings. We made the commitment to every time a white policeman kills someone in the black community, we go out and we protest. But we haven't made the commitment to look at the root causes of why we're showing up the way that we're showing up. What is it that caused us, people who marched and went to jail so that we can have the right to have access to quality education, that we have the dropout rate that we have in our communities? What is it that caused us to fight for our children to have the tools that they can participate in a global world? And you can't get parents to show up at a PTA meeting, but they can show up and sit in front of the television to watch their favorite team. Dr. Qotd Woodson, when he wrote the book, The Miseducation of the Negro, he said, if you can determine what a man shall think, you never have to concern yourself with what he will do. He said, if you can make a man feel inferior, you never have to compel him to seek an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. And if you can make a man feel justly an outcast, you never have to order him to go to the back door. He'll go without being told. And if there's no door, his very nature will demand one. So when you look at Dr. Debbie King, here's a person who's gone through a journey, who has had some tough times, who made some mistakes, and she has lived to tell it. And she's come back, she's educated herself, and she's decided to live a life of contribution. She decided to live from the place of Horace Mann, who said, we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. I was in the barbershop the other day, and it just really, I found it amusing. These guys were talking about basketball and how they had memorized the shooting records of the various players that they admire. At no time in the 2.5 hours that I was there, anybody talked about goals and dreams or what we're going to do to reduce the recidivism rate in our prisons. At no time did anybody talk about how do we begin to curb the violence in our community, the domestic violence of young boys killing each other. 95% of black men are being killed by black men. What do we do to break the cycle of self-hatred and self-destruction? There's an African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. I spoke in Poland a couple of years ago, and the promoters were just shocked that I was crying as I was walking to the stadium. A lot of time and a lot of energy with people who need our help but don't want our help. We buy what we want and we beg for what we need. And so because of her willingness to allow her life to be an example that it's possible, regardless of what you've gone through, regardless of where you are, it's possible that you can change your life. It's necessary that you work on yourself, that you change your mindset, that you change your relationships, you change the places, the things that you do. And it's you that you have to take full responsibility for your life. George Bernard Shaw said the people that making this life, they look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. Just think about this. I do hundreds of interviews every year. This is the first time I've ever been on your show that I can recall any time recently, and probably do maybe 3 African-American events a year. So the key is that there has to be a shift in our thinking about what's important, what's really important, and the willingness to implement a strategy to expose people to more of the kind of enlightening things that you're doing with your program. Expose people to the people that are change agents like Deborah King, who, because of her education in life and academically, that she has some tools that can reduce the incarceration rate of young kids and adults. She has some knowledge that can reduce the recidivism rate and help young people and adults have the tools they need to carve out a place for themselves in this new era that the late Peter Drucker calls the era of the 3 C's: accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, and tremendous competition. Do this is a historic time that we're going through right now. Over 20,000 people are losing their jobs every day, and you've got people they can tell you the latest song, the latest rap song. They can tell you what's going on entertainment-wise, but when it comes to what is it you need to do to stay ahead of technology, they don't have a clue.
Yes.
It's sad.
Yes. Call us. Call in. 410-481-1010. You know, Mr. Brown, you said something that was very interesting, and you just gave me confirmation. When I was living the street life, everybody would always hit my phone. The moment I converted, got my degree, and changed my life and entered the school system and went to the school system of African Americans and said, hey, this is what I can do. This is what I have to offer, and I'm going to do this for free. Not one phone call, which is
interesting. And
you
made a mistake. You made a mistake offering it for free. Because what people get for free, they don't value. The more they pay, the more they pay attention. You did a disservice to them, because Beyonce and Jay-Z, they're not going to offer a concert free.
Right.
And they will be glad to pay for it. I mean, I was shocked with my granddaughter, and I worked in radio and was a promoter, and she wanted to go to a concert to see Beyonce, and they had tickets as high as $700.
Wow.
I guarantee you 99% of the people that are listening to you right now have never invested $50 to go to a seminar that will improve their life, to go to a seminar that will increase their skill set. 99%. And I can also guarantee you that the majority of people that's listening to you right now spend more time sitting in front of a television than sitting in a library reading a book. And so where we are is where we want to be. Jesus said, all power is in my hands, and oh, by the way, the poor will always be among you. Ain't that the truth?
Mr. Brown, I want to backtrack a little bit. Walk us through what made you want to live a life of contribution. So where was it, when was it that your thinking started to shift?
I was born in a poor section of Miami, Florida called Liberty City with a twin brother, Wesley. Just finished talking to my brother. And we were adopted by Mrs. Mamie Brown, 6 weeks of age. I saw my mother going to work on Miami Beach for wealthy families. She would get up in the morning and say, oh, Arthur's bothering me. And I said, Mama, who's Arthur? She said, don't worry. You live long enough, you'll find out. She's talking about arthritis. Okay. And I saw her go to work cooking for these families. We ate the food left over from the families that she cooked for. She adopted 7 kids. We were first foster kids, and then she adopted us. I saw her washing their clothes and keeping their children, and we wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that she kept. And I said to myself, walking around these big, beautiful mansions, I said, Mama, and she said, what is it, Leslie? I said, one of these days I'm going to buy you a big, beautiful home just like this. Fortunately for me, I had to shine the shoes of a man named Mr. Sidursky, who's a very wealthy man. And during the time that I was shining his shoes, he would listen to motivational messages by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. You have the power to control your thoughts. Jim Rohn, when the end comes for you, let it find you conquering a new mountain, not sliding down an old one. Earl Nightingale, you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. Unbeknownst to me, while shining his shoes and listening to those positive messages that expanded my vision of myself. And this is a time where black people had to sit in the back of the bus. This is a time where they had white and colored water fountains. And there my mind was deprogrammed, listening to these motivational messages. And from that time to this time, if people go online and put in Les Brown speaking in the Georgia Dome, they'll see me speaking to over 80,000 white people. From that time to this time, by embracing those messages, I've traveled to over 51 countries and trained millions of people from that time to this time as a result of following the path of what Dr. Qotd Woodson saying, that if you can determine what a man shall think, you never have to concern yourself with what he will do. I did radio. I served in the Ohio legislature. I passed 14 bills my first term, and first time that ever been. I bought my mother 4 different homes before she passed. And the awakening came while I was shining his shoes. And another pivotal moment when I was in special education my junior year, a man named Mr. Leroy Washington, I watched and admired him. He was a speech and drama teacher, and he asked me to work a problem out. And I said, I can't do it, sir. I'm not one of your students. I'm here to see a guy named MacArthur Stevens. And he said, do what I'm telling you to do anyhow. And the students started laughing, saying, he's Leslie. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. Wesley's smart. He's DT. And he said, what is DT? He said, he's the dumb twin. And I said, I am, sir. And he came from behind his desk. He looked at me. He said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. So that was a pivotal, transformative moment for me that allowed me to see myself differently, that allowed me to distract myself from the labor that had been placed on me and see myself in a new light because of that intervention, because of that voice, because of how he looked at me and made me feel.
You made a great point. You said you had to distract yourself. I think that's what we need to do with our youth, the kids that we work with. We need to teach them how to distract themselves.
But we have to do something else. What I'm doing now is training people how to become communicators, effective strategic communicators. That's what Deborah King is. Because in order to change the culture, you have to have communicators. And what communicators do, and what this program is doing, distract, dispute, and inspire. How people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. And so when you bring us a program on, the kind of work that you're involved in, that when they listen to you, you distract them from the reality they now see. And you allow them to see from a larger vision, a larger vantage point, a new reality. Distract, dispute, and through the values that you and Mr. Robinson have in this program that's important for us to begin to advance ourselves, you dismantle their current belief system. Distract, dispute, and inspire. And you inspire them to become, as Mother Teresa would say, to become a pencil in the hand of God and start a new chapter with their lives. You have no idea the number of people whose lives that as a result of them listening to you, as a result of your commitment, that those people decided to take their lives into another direction. You'll never meet all of them. You just have no idea.
Yes. We have a caller on line 3. Let's take this call. Caller, welcome to Question of the Day. How you doing?
How you doing, Brother Robinson, Mr. Brown, and everybody? Glad for your success.
Thank you.
Me and you made it out of the streets of Baltimore. I've been clean and sober now, going on 28 years. I have a recovery meeting in my neighborhood, 5225 York Road at the Action Center, where they have a lot of different information for ex-offenders and all kind of people. But I've had my meeting there at 6 o'clock for the last going on 27 years. Me and you know, the difference is when we grew up and when I grew up poor, I'm 63, and all that, there wasn't a crack epidemic. Either the heroin or the alcohol got you. And a lot of my friends are not here. I was able to go into treatment. I'm a kinship care foster parent for 21 years, retired from VA now, where I went in and out of treatment off and on for 8 years. But another thing we know now, because of the black TV station, TV1, for my man, when that first come on, it said at any given time, there's tens of thousands of women locked up in the United States. The crack addiction in 35 years ago did something that Jim Crow couldn't do, that slavery couldn't do. It tore apart our communities, and self-hate and stuff like that crept in because took the mothers out of the house. And after that, because you always had deadbeat dads of all races, but you always had your mom, growing up. You always could go to your mom. Your mom kept a roof over your head and stuff like that. We have 600 children a night homeless in Baltimore City. We have 3,200 children that go to school homeless and stuff like that. We didn't have that kind of stuff. And I didn't. What was that you said that you had free?
I said I was giving my services offered to Baltimore County Public Schools where I work to go into the schools and speak to the kids. That's constantly what I'm doing right now with the Baltimore City Police Bridge Program. I go into an after-school program every Thursday, and I work with kids. My degree is in theater arts, so I use theater as a way to educate kids on making choices and decisions.
That's great, man. We need that in Baltimore. What we need is alternative. We need alternative stuff, conflict resolution, and all that in the school widespread. Because you got people like you got Keys Development who work with kids and work with mental health and addiction for kids, and brother Israel, we can 20 years of helping adults. And the reason you got so many children in trouble because you got 50 or 60,000 adults hooked on something. Most of the time it's drugs and alcohol, but it could be a job, it can be a man, it can be a woman, and a lot of these young people out here lost. They didn't have the guns. They're emotional murders, a lot of emotional murders and stuff like that. So what you're doing is great. I'm glad we changed commissioners, and a lot of people, Mr. Roberts, did you hear about Turnaround Tuesdays?
Yes, sir. But look, we're going to let Ms. King address your issue, your question or your statement, and I want to thank you for calling in.
Okay, y'all take care, man. I'm going to keep listening.
Thank you.
You too.
All right.
Oh. Yes, well, Tony, I listened to the call and see that, the crack epidemic did plague society. I was one of those mothers. I smoked crack, but I also made a choice to stop.
Right.
We have to hold ourselves accountable and not become a victim of our circumstance, but create a new circumstance. So yes, that was a bad situation, and we don't know what led these women into these situations, but at some point in time, we have to stand up and say enough is enough.
So, Debbie, what was the pivotal moment?
For me?
Yes.
The pivotal moment for me is when my mother was getting ready to go to surgery, and I was supposed to go to rehab. And I said, well, I'm not going because I don't know what the outcome is going to be. So we all circled around and held hands to do a family prayer. Now, my mother suffered from dementia. And so, they come in, they test you, do you know who the president is, that, and the third, to see your lucidity level. My mother stopped everybody right there and said, I'm going to be all right. God got me. We going to say a prayer for my baby. We going to say a prayer for Debbie. Done right then. Because that's true unconditional love, that she would sacrifice herself for me, a mother. So as a mother, I had to do that too. All I had to do was put in the time, the work, the dedication, and the determination to get my life back. Right. And as her leading
Excuse me,
way,
Debbie.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
I'm in the hospital. I'm having pain in my left side of my chest. I have to go now.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I hope everything's okay, Mr. Brown.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so just joining us is Orrin Hudson. Orrin, thank you for joining us. We've been talking about mentoring and
how do we mentor others to be great?
Are you there,
Mr. Hudson?
I'm here. Orrin Hudson, besomeone.org.
Yes, sir.
So walk us through what made you want to live a life of contribution.
Well, I started my mentoring program because 7 people were shot at a robbery for $2,000. And I said to myself, evil prevails when good people do nothing. So I started a crime prevention program called Be Someone, teaching young people to go after the cash with a K. K for knowledge, A for attitude, S for skills, and H for habits. And once you get this cash is king. I'm teaching young people to think things through, think it out, don't shoot it out, brains before bullets. The only way to fight is to use your head.
Could you tell us, you use chess as a way to educate kids, and yes, chess is definitely a thinking man's game. How do you get kids interested in something like chess? Because right now, our society, everyone wants to play the video games.
Well, I created a rap song. It's called Get in the Game. I make learning fun and exciting. and I always put some type of reward challenge match involved. So the kids have a chance to pay me for my watch or $1,000, and they're always trying to win that shiny object syndrome. Where I'm teaching children that, to win in life, you got to prepare yourself, but you got to make it okay to fail. Every master was once a disaster. Everybody starts at zero. Make it okay to fail, and failure is your friend. The more you fail, the stronger you get. Failure is weakness leaving the body, and the more you fail, the stronger you get.
So,
and because, like I said, failure is weakness leaving the body. The more you fail, the stronger you get, and it's the best school on the planet. And so you got to make it okay to fail. Most people don't try stuff because they're afraid to fail, but you got to embrace failure. Failure is your friend. You got to dance with failure. Failure is the best teacher on the planet.
So you have a company, Be Someone Incorporated.
Yes, sir. I came up with the name Be Someone because Abraham Lincoln, his mother, her last words on the planet to Abraham Lincoln was be someone. And even though Abraham had failed 8 times running for public office, Abraham Lincoln took those 2 words, be someone, all the way to the White House. And I'm just doing like Tracy Chapman said, I had a feeling that I belong. I had a feeling I could be someone. Be someone. You can be someone. Be someone. So I'm empowering young people to be someone. Be all God created you to be, and never settle for less than you can be.
Wow.
That is so powerful, and I agree 100% because failure is your first attempt in learning.
Yes.
And you have to grow through failure because we're not born just knowing everything. From an infant, we stand up, we fall down. But it's not how many times we fall down, it's how many times we get up. And to be the best that you can be, I applaud that. You reach for the stars, settle for the moon, and may your feet never touch the ground. Have to strive.
Ms. King, this question is for you. Do you feel that today's youth, the drugs are the main issue?
No, I don't. I believe that there are core issues that lead you to wanting to numb yourself, to escape or avoid. So we have to turn that around, and I believe that various icons, sports figures, entertainers don't carry the responsibility of their platform wholeheartedly because what they portray, it glamorizes a lifestyle that our youth don't realize. When the director says cut, they get up, go home, and get a check. You get to the cemetery or the penitentiary.
Yes.
So they emulate what they see and hear. So sometimes you got to believe half of what you see and less of what you hear. But education is the greatest tool we have, and that's the only thing that can never be taken away from us. So if we can teach them the preventative tools and encourage them to believe in themselves, because the only opinion that truly matters of them is by them. If I feel that I'm great and I can do great things, that's how I walk. If I feel like I'm worthless, I'll never amount to nothing, I tend to believe that. The mind is the greatest tool. It can either work for you or against you. Because you can talk yourself into anything.
This question is for both. Do you think legalizing marijuana will hurt the kids more?
Okay, I'll take that one. I think so. I think a lot of people got this twisted. They don't know the power that they have within. I don't do drugs. I never done drugs. And I do great things. I'm a chess champion. I'm a motivational speaker. I can play 100 people at once in chess and beat them. And people got this thing twisted. They think I got to have something outside of myself to be great. No, you have everything you need to be great. You have your mind. You have your ability. You have talents. And you have time. So up with hope and down with dope.
Ms. King.
There you go.
What are your thoughts?
I'm two-sided, and I'll tell you why I'm two-sided. Because of the fact, when you legalize something, you take away the thrill. A lot of kids do drugs because of the thrill of getting away with doing something they ain't got no business. So if you make it as accessible, they don't want it no more. The thrill is gone. But it's the lesser of the evils of what I'm seeing every day. You know, if you think about it conscientiously, you'll never hear a commercial killed by someone smoking a blunt like you do killed by a drunk driver. You don't see the overdose off of opiate, overdose off of smoking weed. You're going to sleep. So not that I'm a proponent necessarily for it, but it's the lesser of the evil. I'd rather, today with the pandemic, I'd rather see you smoke some weed than pop a pill, snort a pill, or inject some heroin.
One viewer from Facebook states, her name is Danita. Shout out to Danita. Thank you for listening to the show. She said, one drug habit is known a fact to lead our kids to another drug habit. Absolutely not, because I've seen many of my peers go from weed to heroin. So.
Well, my thing is this. Here's the thing. The truth can't set you free until you identify the lie that's holding you hostage. We got to realize that people have bad information. People will give you bad information. I'm telling you up with hope, down with dope. Here's why. Because the first thing that pops in your head is inferior. People will tell you, let's kill Moses. The Red Sea got us blocked. Let's kill Moses. We ain't doing that. Because people got the lie wrong. So the truth can't set you free until you identify the lie that's holding you out. People got the wrong information. People think, oh, I got to have this, the thrill, this thrill. No, we got that wrong. We got to change the game. We playing checkers. We got to change it to chess. My cat can play checkers. Oscar, come over here. I have Oscar. Oscar can play checkers. So what we got to do, we got to have high-level thinking. We have to do what the 3% of the people are doing. 3% of people in the world owns most of 90% of the wealth. Why? Because the 97% people are doing it wrong. We got to change the game. We got to make sure we got to get around people who are smarter than you, because the truth can't set you free until you identify the lie that's holding you hostage.
Orrin, that sounds, what you're saying is you're speaking truth. Just tell us a little bit about chess and some of the life lessons that you teach kids and adults, and how it can be applied into business, because I've seen you work with adults, and I've seen you work with kids, and I see a lot of lessons in chess. So can you share with our listeners some of those powerful pieces regarding chess?
I'll be delighted. The number one lesson in chess is that black and white is the same. Don't play the blame game, play to win. You're born with everything you need. So that's number one. Number two is pattern recognition. I can play a lot of people, 100 people at once. Why? I know the pattern. I look at the board, I see the pattern, I make a move. I look at the board, I see the pattern, I make a move. Pattern recognition allows you to plan, prepare, position, predict. It gives you power, prestige, and perspective that allows you to prosper, and then you can make a profit because you see all these P's. I already know what's coming next. I look at the board, this game is over. This guy don't even know it. So that's another lesson. Another lesson is you have to use, the queen is the most powerful piece on the board. She's 7 times more powerful than the king. And you have to use your pieces and use your resources. Use all your resources. Your pieces on the back row are useless. So get your pieces in the game and work with what you got. Work with what you got. Don't blame in this game. Don't play the blame game, play the win. Because it's not about blame, it's about aim. You have everything you need to win the game. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. If you make the right move, you get the right result. Nature is neutral.
Wow. You just said a mouthful. Thank you for that.
Call us. Call in 410-481. Today's question: how do we mentor others to be great? How do we mentor others to be great? The question is for the panel. Do you feel that we're doing enough as a society to really help our youth to be successful? And the reason I say that is because I work in the school system, and there's a lot of things that I don't agree with that I see. How we set kids up for failure, and we graduate kids who can't read, and
Exactly. No, we're not. The answer is no. I give us an F-. And what we can do, we can change the game. We got to teach children how to think strategically about their future and how to solve problems in real time. Now, here's the biggest lesson we need to teach people. The jails are filled with people who have this law backwards. So I'm going to stop this right now. I'm going to give you a solution right now. There's a song out called The Love of Your Own by the Average White Band. And in this song, it gives you the key to success in all fields. It says, the sooner you give, the sooner you get to have. The problem with the school system, they're not teaching children to be givers. If you give, you win. Jesus said if you give, it comes back 100-fold. Giving is the best investment you can ever make in your life. The word love means to give without expecting anything in return. And the sooner you give, the sooner you get to have, because giving is an investment. But here's the deal. You must give and walk away. Why? Because things take time to manifest. Things take time to manifest. 6 magic words. Take time to think things through and ask yourself, is this true? Is this honest? Is this the best move I can make? Make every move your best move, and make every move you make sure is a credit, not a debit. Why? Because there's 4 types of people in the world. The people that subtract, people that divide, people that add and multiply. God's first instruction to the first couple on earth was be fruitful and multiply. If you multiply value, you win the game of life every time.
Okay, so each of you are doing, have some movements going on right now. We're going to take this call, but I want you to talk about your goal, Orrin, as far as what your reach is, your goal in reaching our youth. And Debbie, I would like for you to talk about your It Takes a Life to Save a Life. We're going to go to this caller, and then we're going to revisit those 2 ideas that I just threw out to you all.
Caller, line 1.
Yes, my name is Glory.
Glory, how you doing? Welcome to Question of the Day.
Yes, I have a question and concern. And I didn't hear the whole show, but I tuned in when I heard a young lady was saying that she 50-50 on marijuana being, into the that was destroying, the community or the youth. I've always been having a problem, even with the alcohol. And if you have families, alcohol had broken up a lot of families. And then for them to legalize marijuana, it's about the money, the tax money, because I understand now in other states they're making big money off of marijuana. But, it's unfortunate, that, we had to deal with this and everything. And hopefully young people that understand and they won't take that route. So we're going to lose some and we're going to save some. So everybody I know is starting off trying to save the young people. That's how we need to start off, the young ones. Yes. And everything. So I'm definitely against that because, I'm a community activist. I've been for a long time, and I see a lot that goes on in the city. And if our young youth, believe it or not, if they don't get jobs back, especially in Baltimore City, because I was raised in the city, and all these killings is going on, it's going on because of, and y'all probably know, drugs, turf, different gangs. Yes. Until they, destroy themselves or kill themselves, then things will get back to normal. But until that takes, control, and for us to be conscious of where we're going, to be safe, and not to put ourselves in harm's way. So.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
A lot to think about.
Yes. Thank you for calling in.
Okay. Y'all have a good one.
You too. So, or we're going
to
start
I would like to make a comment on that if I would.
Sure.
I want to clarify, it's not that I want to legalize a drug at any sense of the word, but saying due to the pandemic of deaths, we had 64,000 deaths last year from opioid overdoses. You go between 5 to 50 deaths a day. And if I had to choose a lesser of the 2 evils at this given moment to save a life, it would be I'd rather them smoke some weed. By no means, I'm sober of all vices. I could have said, well, let me just transfer my drug of choice because this one over here doesn't give me a problem. But the key word of what I just said was choice.
Right.
When we have all these commercials about tobacco, I can choose to go buy it or I cannot smoke. Alcohol, I feel, is the most dangerous drug on the market because it is legal and free, and you can buy it on every corner and in the supermarket. Now, your drugstores got liquor stores attached to them. You see what I'm saying? But that was socially acceptable. And none of this is socially acceptable. Kids are set up to fail from the beginning because they imitate what they see.
I agree.
So to speak with you, Granique, on it takes a life to save a life, my campaign is it takes a life to save. Let me begin by offering you mine. Through my experiences, I can allow you to be devoid of making the same mistakes that I made. My slogan now is life is the new cool. It is so much harder to be that leader, but that's your true sign of strength. Everybody can follow behind the crowd. It takes a strong person to walk in the other direction. Life is the new cool. It is the greatest gift God gave us was the ability to have life. How we live that life is our blessing back to God. So we have to embrace our life and want to live, and we have to teach people to be inspired to want to do something. I talked to a young man the other day, and I said, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? He said he didn't see himself making it to 25. That was the saddest thing I ever heard.
Right.
Okay.
You have a special...
Yes.
We're listening. We're sorry about that.
Orrin.
No worries.
Yes, sir.
You know,
I'm here.
When you lose your ambition and your goals, it saddens me.
Right.
You know, so I want to always motivate and uplift through It Takes a Life to Save a Life, that together we can accomplish anything. You never have to be alone.
Orrin, so talk to us about your goal as far as you have a goal in mind for reaching a certain amount of kids. Talk to us about that and how you plan on going about doing that.
Well, my goal is to reach 1 million kids, and we always looking for volunteers, sponsors, and people who can contribute to BeSomeone.org. And I've trained over 55,000 kids, and we're looking to put together a dream team so other people can hire me to come to Baltimore, hire me to come to Maryland, hire me to come to Washington, D.C. Anybody that has the audience can hear me. I want to come out. I want to have my mobile program. I want to bring my life-size chessboard. I want to teach young people how to dream, how to think things through, how to choose peace instead of violence, how to put brains before bullets, how to get your head up, get your pants up, how to get your grades up. My goal is 1 million. I'm at 55,000, so I have a long way to go, and I can't do this alone. I need more people to join me in my efforts in teaching young people, get your head up, get your pants up, get your grades up.
And how can they reach out to you if they want to support your program?
BeSomeone.org. BeSomeone.org, or they can email us at info@BeSomeone.org or Orrin at BeSomeone.org. My name has 2 R's in it. Or they can give us a call at 770-465-6445, 770-465-6445.
And if you should come to one of the schools, talk to us about what your program looks like, because I know we have a lot of educators that listen in on the show. So.
Okay. I come in and I customize it. I can do a lunch and learn, I can do a after-school program, or I can do a morning program, or I can go in and do a blitz where I go to different classrooms and do it that way. So each program is customized. I customize it to meet their needs. But I've been to D.C. before, and you've seen me do what I do.
Yes.
But I go in and talk to the principal. If they want me to do an assembly, I can do that. If they want me to do something with the teachers, I do that. If they want me to do something with the parents, I can do that. So I customize these things. I bring the life-size chessboard and teach children by actual experience how to think things through and how to say, wait a minute, what's my best move? Make every move my best move. Don't do the first thing that pops in your head. The first thing that pops in your head is inferior. The first thing that pops in your head is a trap. So we got to think things through. 6 magic words. Take time to think things through.
And how does this translate over into the corporate world?
It came to the corporate world is that when you're in a corporation, you got to have a strategic team. Everybody got to make the right move. In chess, the king is the weakest piece on the board, but the king surrounds himself around others who can make moves he cannot. In the corporate world, you got to put together your team, and you got to surround yourself around people who can make moves they cannot. And you got to recognize the patterns so you can plan, prepare position, and you can predict, and so you can make a profit. You make a profit by bringing people so much value that they're going to come back. You got to give people value. You got to make sure every move you make in the corporate world is a credit, not a debit. When you have a debit, then that's a swindle. When you have a swindle, you go to jail. We ain't doing no swindles. We're going to make sure we're multiplying value. We're giving people way more than they expect. Here's the formula. Promise a lot and deliver even more.
Say that again.
Promise a lot and deliver even more.
That is awesome.
Miss King.
Yes, sir.
How can we?
You know, I'm listening to Orrin's philosophy, and it almost goes hand in hand with what we do in recovery, because you want to teach them to be around like-minded people that want to do positive things. We tell you in recovery, first thought wrong. You know, pause, pray, proceed, because through impulsivity we make bad decisions. So like he says, you have to think about things. It works hand in hand in being that change agent, like what I do, and it takes a life he's using his tutelage to give these children the opportunity to reprogram the way they think and behave to be the best person they can be. The way we do in recovery, we reprogram to get rid of the drugs and the disappointment and the defeats, and start putting them in the win columns, where every day that you can wake up and live a life free of all mood-altering substances, you won the game. It's just for that day. To do it one day at a time.
We have 7 minutes left, and Mr. Brown is just joining us back on the call. Thank you, Mr. Brown, for coming back on. We're just wrapping it up, and we were just talking about, next moves. So what is your next move for mentoring those adults?
Well, first of all, I'm going to focus on working with Debbie King, because, Jesus said, whosoever will, let him come. I work with the willing. The primary reason that things are not changing in our community, there are three basic reasons. Number one, the people who are well-meaning, who are trying to make a change, they don't know that they don't know, and they think they know. Number two, the fight over who gets the money. Three, who gets the credit. Those are the three reasons why our community is in a state of chaos. There's an African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. So that's the challenge that we face, as well as the opportunity. I'm working with Debbie King because she's serious. At this stage of my life, I'm 73, and I've made $65 million doing what I'm doing, teaching and training primarily Caucasians how to achieve their goals, because people in our community don't value what I do. And so, first of all, I want to just thank Mr. Robinson for allowing me to be on the program. I probably do 1 or 2 black shows a year, because I can't even have a conversation with people. The fact that I can talk to 2 of you is just worth it for me. I just had an EKG since I've been talking to you.
Right.
That's how fast technology is. I think, but just in case this is my last call, black show.
We wanted to be the last show.
Well, we thank you for,
We
we honor that you came on the show. So we appreciate that. Thank you.
So here's what I'd like to leave with you. I'd like the people who are listening who are serious, let's look at a solution. And it's called mindset transformation. All the stuff we're talking about, if somebody brought a pound of cocaine in a control room, neither one of you is specific. Why? Because of your mindset. You have to change the mindset. As a man thinking so is he, and he continues to say,
Mr. Brown.
Jobs for people.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
I think there's a cell phone interference or something going on where it's a little spotty.
No, not on my end.
Okay, now we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you clear now. Very clear.
So can you just repeat?
The reason that all the reasons people talk about, we spend zero money on the city level, the county level, the state level, and the federal level on mindset. Scripture says, as a man thinketh, so is he. If we don't have a program like what Deborah King is talking about, what we have partnered up to do, to change the mindset of our community, nothing will change. I used to get people jobs. First of all, they would come up late, they wouldn't have work, and they would steal parts from the job. It's not about they're out here doing drugs because they can't get jobs. That is bull. It's their mindset. It's a thug mindset. And so if we're not talking seriously about doing that, and I encourage everybody, it won't cost them anything, but if they would go on YouTube and put in Les Brown speaking in the Georgia Dome, Les Brown speaking in the Georgia Dome, and the title of the speech is called "It's Not Over Till You Win." I'm speaking to 80,000 white people. Only 2 black people were there, and I know them.
Let me say this to you, Mr. Brown.
And that will change their mindset. I'm telling you what I know.
Right.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm truly a fan. I mean, I've been following you for a minute, so for our listeners who might want to be a part of your camp, the Les Brown, the camp that you have for people who want to become motivational speakers and all of those kind of things, how could they reach out to you?
They can email me at lesbrown77@gmail.com. lesbrown77@gmail.com. We teach people who are serious, who want to be trained, who are hungry, want to invest in themselves, how to use their voice and their knowledge to make a difference and to create incredible wealth. When I speak in the United States, I get $70,000 an hour. When I speak outside of it, I get $225,000 an hour. The two of you have developed a skill being in radio. You live as blind people because you can't see the people that you talk to. So there you have an advantage when you can see an audience. Radio prepared me for this. And there's so much opportunity when we go to other countries. People admire us, and when we can talk, other than just run or rap or sing, they are intrigued.
Yes.
It will amaze you.
Yes.
I just got back from London the day before yesterday and had to be hospitalized because of the sciatica pain that I was experiencing. But I can tell you, we have so much potential. But until we change our mindset, there's 3 things to make it today. 1, mindset transformation. 2, develop a skill set that allows you to stay ahead of technology. 50,000 jobs are being lost 20,000 jobs are being lost every day. 50% of the jobs that exist can be done by robots. And the third thing, which is major, what we're doing right now, create collaborative, achievement-driven accountability partners. Collaborative, achievement-driven accountability partners. If you change your mindset, and if you have a skill set like Deborah, because of her knowledge, because of her experience, and because of the 2 of us getting together, we will be stronger together than we will ever be apart. Those are the 3 steps of making it today in this era that of accelerated change.
So again, I want to thank our special guests, Miss Deborah King, Mr. Orrin Hudson, and the legendary Mr. Les Brown. All of our callers, listeners, everyone. The question of the day, the show where all voices and opinions matter. Until next week.
Thank you so much, guys.